Today we are going to discuss about Hall effect in conductors and semiconductors. So basically Hall effect, it is a experimental observation of there is a small potential difference created across the sample due to applying electric and magnetic field perpendicularly. This is what actually Hall effect. So further we will explain Hall effect in case of conductors or semiconductors. So how Hall effect is there, so and their applications, what are the applications of the Hall effect that we are going to discuss today. So what do you mean by Hall effect? So Hall effect is basically, so when a current flowing in the material, that means charge carriers are present in the material conductors, the charge carriers are moving due to application of the external electric field, that is current flowing. So now if you take that sample, that material, keep it in a magnetic field, this magnetic field you apply in a perpendicular to the direction of the current, then if you see at that time there is a field, electrostatic field developed across the material, that is what is called Hall effect. Let us see how it looks. Okay, for example, let us take this a material, for let's say it is a conductor, it's an electrical conductor. Now if you apply current in this direction, let's say this is in positive x direction, and now in z direction, or it is in y direction, if you apply a magnetic field, so apply magnetic field along y direction. So now if you say this is the z direction, so in this direction we applied a current, that is current flowing in this direction along x direction, and if you apply magnetic field along y direction, the strength of the magnetic field is B bar. So here the current is flowing I in this direction. Then what happens? So in z direction, if it is a conductor we have a free electrons, as we know free electrons are there. Now because of the current, the electrons are moving with some velocity, so that is what is the drift velocity. It is moving with the drift velocity. Now the charge carrier is moving, so that the charge carrier, if we keep it in external magnetic field, then there is a force acting on this magnetic field. So that force is called Lorentz force. That force we can write, basically it is a Q into V bar cross B bar, and the drift velocity, so that means if we take a drift velocity Vd of the charge carrier because of the electric field, so B, this we can write Q into Vd into B sin theta. Here the current, direction of the current and application of magnetic field, these two are perpendicular, so that means the sin theta is 90, then this becomes 1. Then the force acting on the charge carrier Q Vd into B, this is the force acting on the charge carrier if you place it in an external magnetic field. Now there is a force according to Fleming's left hand rule. If there are two electric field and as well as magnetic field is applying simultaneously, then there is a force acting on the charge carriers, that is according to Fleming's left hand rule. The force acting on these charge carriers always try to pull towards the negative z direction, it's downward. That means what are the charge carriers, that means electrons in the material, for this case of conductor, those electrons are pulled towards the downward direction. The force is always in the down direction. Because of the force acting on the charge carriers, all the electrons are accumulated on the bottom surface of the sample. It is a bottom surface of the sample. So that means the bottom surface it becomes a negatively charged. So once it is a negative charge, it takes place. The top surface obviously will become positive charge will come, because in order to attain the electrical equilibrium, if it is negative charge here, obviously there should be a positive charge should be there at the top surface. So then there is a positive charge on top surface, negative charge on the bottom surface. That means these two are separated by a. For example, if you take the length of this one is d, then the positive and negative charge gets separated by a distance d. Then obviously there is a voltage developed across these two surfaces. So that means this is here and here some voltage is developed. That voltage we call it as a Hall voltage. That is what is called VH. If you measure here voltage, that voltage is VH. That is what Hall voltage. So this is called Hall effect. So this is created because of if you are applying electric field and as well as magnetic field perpendicular to the material. So let's say in order to give the same thing, so let us see this one. So this is you take a conductor, a metal piece, something like a rectangular metal piece like this. Now what you are doing here, so let's say it is like this. So now in this direction you apply a current you are applying in this direction. So what will happen? The electrons will flow in this. Electrons are flowing inside the material. Okay, that means charge carriers are moving. Now if you place this one in external magnetic field, something like if you apply a magnetic field towards this direction, towards this, so forward direction. Okay, if you apply this direction, now according to Fleming's left hand rule, so what will happen? The charge carriers are moving inside the material. Those charge carriers experience a force that is a downward direction. That means what all the electrons are there inside the material, that all come to a bottom surface. That means this surface. So this surface will always have a negative charge. So once here negative charges are there, so obviously there is a positive charge created on the top surface. So this is called Hall effect in case of conductors. Now this same thing we can apply to the semiconductor. For example, you take a p-type semiconductor. In case of p-type semiconductor, now this is a p-type semiconductor. Now you apply electric field in this direction, that means current flowing. So here there are two charge carriers. Unlike conductors, here there are two types of charge carriers present: holes and electrons. As you know, p-type semiconductor will have a more positive charge and less negative charge. So all the charge carriers inside the material which is pulling downward, that means it is settled at downward, and the positive and negative something will get a neutralization. Still, because of holes, number of holes are more, so positive charge is accumulated on the bottom surface of the material. So since positive charge is here and negative charge is accumulated on the surface, top surface of this material, then there is a potential difference created in these two ends. This potential difference we can measure. This voltage is called Hall voltage. Same thing if you apply for the n-type semiconductor. In case of n-type semiconductor, holes are less, electrons are more. So that in bottom surface electrons negative charge is accumulated, in top surface positive charge accumulated, then potential difference created between these two ends. So this is called Hall effect. Then this force, what are the force is acting on it? The charge carriers magnetic field, because of the magnetic field, the force acting on this one is F is equal to Q into V bar plus V bar, that is F is Q VB. The same thing if you apply for this same electric field, whatever the generated electric field is you are applying, that electric field, due to electric field, the force acting on the charge carrier, that force is, as you know, it is a Q into E. Since here that is whatever the electric field is here, that electric field is a Hall field. So now always there is a equal and opposite forces exist for these two. These forces should be identical. Then there is a field is created, Hall voltage is generated, or Hall field is generated. So now if we equal these two, then what will happen? Q into EH is equal to Q into VD into B. So Q will get cancelled. Then, so we arrived in equation VH is equal to VD into B. So here EH is equal to Hall field, Hall electric field. VD is the drift velocity. B is the applied magnetic field. How much magnetic field you apply, that much of the magnetic field is this one. So EH is equal to VD into B. Now let us see what is the current density. Current density, as you know, J is equal to NEVD. Since if you take for this for conductors, then there is a, for electrons it is a negative, minus NEVD. So from this VD is equal to what you can write, minus J by NE. So now in this equation EH is equal to VD into B. So here VD is equal to EH by B. VD is equal to EH by B. So from these two, minus J by NE is equal to EH by B. So from this what we can write, EH is equal to minus 1 by NE into J into B. Now if you can write this 1 by NE into RH into J into B, this is what EH is equal to one expression, where RH is equal to minus 1 by NE. So this RH is called Hall coefficient. So this is called Hall coefficient. So Hall coefficient for what? For electrons. For electrons, Hall coefficient RH is equal to minus 1 by NE. So this we derived for the electrons, the charge carriers of electron charge carriers. For example, if the holes are there, for holes, what would be this value? RH is equal to, it should be, negative sign will not be there, the same derivation is same. So it could come like 1 by P into E. So this is the Hall coefficient for the holes. For electrons, RH is equal to minus 1 by NE. So RH is equal to, this is positive value and this is negative value. So P is the concentration of the holes present in the material. So the charge we know, and N is concentration of electrons in the bed. For example, if there is a situation that if you can measure the Hall coefficient value, if you measure experimentally, the Hall coefficient value, if it is come positive, then we can understand the majority charge carriers in that material is the holes. Then from this we can guess it is a p-type semiconductor. For example, if it is coming like a negative, the charge carriers are, the RH Hall coefficient is negative, then we can understood that then it is a n-type semiconductor. So by this we can distinguish whether that given semiconductor is a p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor from the known value of the RH. And again, if you know the RH value, E value we know, from this we can measure the concentration of the holes as well as concentration of the electrons present in the material. So this is what advantages, applications of the Hall effect. So now let us see the applications of Hall effect. So as we mentioned, so from Hall coefficient value, so if we get a negative or positive value we can get. So from this, what are the charge carriers are present in this material, whether the sign of the charge carrier, whether the positive charge carrier, positive charge or negative charge, that we can identify, that is the first foremost thing. And second one, from the sign of the charge carriers, we can measure whether the given material is a p-type semiconductor or n-type semiconductor, that is the second one. So that is the second one. Now after that, once we know that value RH is equal to, since it is a 1 by NE, so if it is a electrons, then it is a negative sign will come. So E value we know, charge of electron we know. From this we can measure the concentration of the electrons or concentration of the holes. For the holes 1 by P into E. So that also we can measure. Then once we know it is the J value, J is equal to Ne mu. Then current density we can measure from this. Since J we know, J is equal to I by A, or from this we can know I is equal to, from this we can measure the J value, current density. From the current density we can measure the mobility of the charge carriers. That also mu also we can measure from this value. Okay, that is the one application. And after that, so we can identify whether the given material is conductor, semiconductor or insulator. How we can identify? From the concentration of the charge carriers, the carrier concentration. So the conductor will have a high concentration of charge carriers, and low concentration means it could be insulator, and if it is intermediate, then we can say it is a semiconductor. So from this we can identify whether the given material is a conductor, semiconductor or insulator. That we can identify from this Hall effect experiment. And also once we know the Hall voltage and we know the Hall quotient value, from this equation VH we know, and I we know, RH we know, and T also we know. From this we can measure what is the magnetic field is applied. For example, we don't know how much field we applied for the material. That means we can easily sense how much magnetic field is present in the materials. That also applied to the material. That also we can measure from this experiment. So these are the various applications for the Hall effect. So it is a very it gives a special identification. It has a special identification that. So first and foremost thing we can say, semiconductor will have a positive charge carriers. The holes concept is introduced that can be experimentally verified by the Hall effect. So it has a enormous applications of the Hall effect, and it helpful to the in a semiconductor field.